You might not recognize this aroid at first, but this is Amydrium zippelianum. I probably am mispronouncing that scientific name, and I'm not even sure what common names this particular plant has. I'm not sure if I could just show you all this growth, but it sticks out these like long tentacles, and you could tell that this is something that runs either scandent on the ground, or if you give it a pole, it will probably grow up on a sphagnum pole. And it has been such a joy to grow because I kind of like those plants that kind of go all over and make the house their own. And this is definitely one of those plants. It's actually native to Malaysia and all throughout that area, maybe even New Guinea. And it's common in montane rainforests, but if it also, I think, can be classified as a weed in certain areas. And again, that tells me that it's a really prolific grower, which is a good thing, especially if you're a houseplant owner and you want a plant to grow very large. As far as fertilizing this, I give it a well-balanced fertilizer and on a monthly basis. I mean, it does kind of grow relatively fast. So if you want to do it on more of a bi-weekly basis, and then if you're using synthetic fertilizer and just cutting that by half, then I think that that would actually be quite fine. I have this growing, I would say, about a foot under a very good grow light. So it is kind of getting bright light. I wouldn't say it's kind of full sun, but this plant will get damaged if you're growing it in kind of full sun. So I was even thinking of actually moving it down from the grow light, because I noticed that some of the leaves are getting a little bit chlorotic, and the ones that were on these kind of like stolons or these runners were actually a deeper color green, which I think that is like common when a plant is not growing in such high sun conditions. The plant itself would actually be a deeper kind of green. But what I love about this particular plant is this like kind of feathery palm-like fronds that it has, and I think that is like super unique in the houseplant world. These do go for kind of a pretty penny, so I would definitely get your hands on them if you could find a good deal, because they're typically not in the garden centers or the markets. As far as humidity goes, I mean, this would probably enjoy a little bit of a higher humidity, but I think moderate humidity has been totally fine for this plant. I don't have any kind of humidifier around it, though, like I said, I'm sure if you give it, it'll be like even more optimal for this particular plant. And as far as watering goes, I have a pretty well-draining mix, and I water it on the regular, like I'd probably say once a week. It does start to droop its little palm frond leaves down, and so it will tell you when it needs water. So sometimes I do water more than once a week. It just really depends how close it is to the light source that you're actually giving it. And as far as pest pressures, I haven't had any with this particular plant. And like I said, I've had it for several years now. And you can propagate it by, through these little runners that you see here. You could cut below a node and place this on some kind of potting medium, and it will probably start to root at those nodes. You could even let it sit on the potting medium in a horizontal fashion, and it'll probably root up. And then once it starts to root, you could then put that into either the same pot or maybe a different pot if you want to multiply your particular plant. But otherwise, this is a fun plant to grow. You could see that it spreads out, so you just want to be able to give it a little bit of room as well.